Every step that brought you here took something from you. You paid the price in full. You kept climbing when it hurt. You climbed when your hands were torn and your legs were shaking. You climbed when stopping would have been easier than continuing. Now you're here, breathing heavy, staring into the distance, asking yourself why it had to be this way. You were searching for answers, for meaning, for proof that all this pain mattered. Listen carefully. The world does not reward effort. It does not respect struggle. It does not stop to admire how hard you tried. The world only responds to strength. That is why you're here. They wanted a monster. Not because you chose this path, not because you wanted this life, but because they kept pushing long after they should have stopped. They saw potential and tried to suffocate it. They saw hunger and called it greed. They saw fire and labeled it dangerous. They told you to calm down, to be patient, to be reasonable. They told you to wait your turn while standing on your shoulders. And the moment you stopped waiting, they called you the problem. Weakness is comfortable. Weakness is familiar. Weakness is easy to control. Strength disrupts everything. They wanted you quiet. They wanted you small. They wanted you grateful for scraps. They never planned for you to outgrow the limits they set. But you did. You endured what they couldn't survive. You absorbed losses that would have broken most people. And you learned the hardest truth of all. No one is coming to save you. At first, that realization hurts. Then it numbs. Then it hardens you. That cold space inside you, the one that used to scare you, isn't emptiness. It's where fear used to live. Fear left because it no longer had a place. They say you changed. They're right. The version of you that begged for approval is gone. The version that apologized for existing is gone. The version that believed kindness alone would protect you, gone. What remains is sharper. You stopped asking for permission. You stopped explaining yourself. You stopped justifying your ambition. That's when they started calling you a monster. They don't hate monsters for what they do. They hate them because monsters don't obey. Monsters don't bend themselves into shapes that make others comfortable. They don't sacrifice their future to protect fragile egos. They don't pretend. And honesty terrifies people who hide behind masks. You were never meant to fit in. You were never meant to be manageable. You were forged by pressure, not praise. They pushed you into corners and expected surrender. They tested your limits and expected collapse. They mistook your silence for weakness. And when you finally stopped absorbing damage quietly, they panicked. Because now you're unpredictable. The world is not kind to the predictable. The predictable are exploited. The predictable are consumed. So you adapted. You learned when to speak and when to move in silence. You learned when to hold back and when to strike decisively. You learned that fairness is a myth told by people who never had to fight. They wanted a monster. They just didn't expect you to survive the transformation. You no longer need their respect. Respect fades. Fear remains. Fear is consistent. Fear creates distance. You stopped living for validation the moment you realized validation doesn't protect you when things get real. No one applauds suffering. No one remembers patience. No one cares how many times you gave the benefit of the doubt. They only notice when you stop. Heroes burn out. Heroes bleed themselves dry trying to save people who never wanted saving. Heroes wait for fairness and die waiting. Monsters endure. A real monster isn't chaotic. It's controlled, calculated, focused. You don't destroy everything. You remove obstacles. You don't rage blindly. You apply pressure where it matters. That's what makes you dangerous. You're not loud anymore. You're certain. And certainty terrifies people who live in doubt. They tell you to relax because your focus exposes their laziness. They tell you to slow down because your discipline exposes their excuses. They tell you to be reasonable because they can't keep up. You stopped competing for approval. You started competing with your potential. That's when everything changed. You see the system now. You see who benefits from your obedience. You see how quickly loyalty disappears when it becomes inconvenient. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. They'll say you became cold. They'll say power corrupted you. They're lying. Power didn't corrupt you. It revealed you. It burned away the softness that nearly destroyed you. It stripped the illusions. It showed you how the world really works. You learned that mercy is a luxury, that restraint means nothing without leverage, that survival comes before morality. You stopped apologizing. You stopped explaining your boundaries. You stopped negotiating your worth. You moved forward anyway. They hoped you'd come back. They hoped you'd soften. They hoped you'd remember your place. You didn't. Now they're afraid. Not because you threatened them, but because you no longer need them. Independence terrifies people who rely on control. They tried to see how far you could push you. They wanted to watch you break. They miscalculated. You didn't break, you recalibrated. You turned pain into fuel, loss into clarity, betrayal into awareness. That's how monsters are made, not born. Forged. Forged in silence. Forged in isolation. Forged in moments where quitting would have been understandable. You didn't quit. You climbed. And now you have choices. They don't. You can shrink yourself again, or you can keep going. They wanted a monster. Now they have one. Not reckless, not cruel, not desperate. Relentless.